Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TARDIS Zone for the next 45 minutes or hour or so. Myself and Marty are going to be discussing the latest rumours from Reddit. Now, if anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, there is a video that I threw up last night. If you just want to go and look at that video real quick, go ahead. But we will be reading out the rumours on the channel, and then myself and Marty, and then obviously you guys in the chat will be giving your opinions. And then on Friday, for anybody that wants to say something about what we speak about, don't worry, you'll get your opportunity on the TARDIS Zone Talks. So don't worry, you won't be left out. You can come on Friday and discuss all of these, including all the other rumours that have been spoke about recently. So let's bring him on because it was Marty who brought this to my attention. And again, I will just state that since we've been getting information on Series 12, we have tried to make it known if we can. Obviously, if it's from my sources, I have to keep that to myself. I'm hardly going to tell people who my sources are. But if we get stuff from Gallifrey Base, or whether it's from Twitter, or whether it's from indeed Reddit, which we're talking about tonight, we try and make everybody aware of this and make sure that everybody understands this. Unfortunately, there are some out there that don't understand how it works. Now, what usually happens is if Marty does find something, we usually follow up with a stream as well. And this is what we're doing in this stream. So before I bring Marty on, a little disclaimer. Everything that we're discussing on this channel now tonight is rumor and speculation. None of this has been confirmed by the BBC, yet has it been denied or reported by anybody in the media as far as I am aware. Okay, so I want to make it clear, everything discussed on this channel tonight is rumor and speculation. So that's your disclaimer, and now let's get this show on the road. I'd like to introduce Marty, everybody.
Hello. How are you all?
Not too bad, Marty. And how are you, my friend?
I'm still kicking anyway. I'm still here.
Yes, good man. Good man. That's what I like to hear. Right. Well, listen, we might as well get straight into it because there is a lot, obviously, with the rumours. There is a lot of information, and I want to try get through as much of it as possible. I don't want to throw it up on the screen, but if you want to, because I did it in the video and I left the link in the video last night. So if someone is really that desperate to go in and see the original thread where the link is, I put the link in the link description in the video last night. I do get accused that I don't do that, so I'll make a more of an effort to actually do that if I can, where possible. Even with the photographs, I even threw up the link to the Liverpool Echo and the photographer on Twitter just to cover my back from all sides. But Marty, have you got the rumours there in front of you?
I have the rumours, and I have a bit of, I sort of have a bit of an update, a bit of a breaking news, if you want to call it that. I've been speaking to somebody who is in Liverpool right now. It's actually two of my friends who are studying in Liverpool, and they're fans of the show too. And they have been down at the filming, and what they have told me is that it seems to, well, it's obviously exterior shots that they're taking, but it seems to be episodes 1 and episode 3 that they're filming exterior shots for. There's one of the scenes, before I get into the rumours, I'll not keep you too long with this. One of the scenes they were filming last night was John Bishop's character going into the TARDIS. That was episode 3, according to the clapperboard slate. So it seems to suggest that maybe he's not joining until episode 3, or maybe he's in episode 1 and then perhaps he turns it down, the offer of going to the TARDIS, and then by episode 3 he actually does go. I don't know. Just based on what it's episodes 1 and 3 that they were doing.
Very interesting, actually. Yeah.
It was episodes 1 and 3 that they were doing exterior shots for, because I've been chatting to my friends who are there, and they've said they've seen it on the clapperboards that it's episodes 1 and 3, and I think there's screenshots up on Twitter as well. So I think that's what the story was. But anyway, I'll get on to what the main story is here. So basically, this Reddit poster, this person sort of, I was first alerted to Gallifrey based this post, and then I went to the original link on Reddit to see where it was. And what they're saying is that Series 13 is going to be 6 1-hour-long episodes with an 80-minute premiere and an 80-minute finale. It's going to be 4 two-part stories, and there'll be no single-parters. The series will focus on Yaz and Dallin, and it'll act as an audience identification figure, learning more about her along with us. The Doctor will continue to deal with the Timeless Child revelation and seek out the truth. I'll not go all day. I'll be chatting for the next 20 minutes if we keep going on with the information here, but I'll basically sum it down, try and keep it short and sweet. So the first two-part story, according to this, is that it's going to be a Sontaran story. Basically, the Sontarans are going to be heading through battles throughout history, trying to study battle tactics. But there's going to be an underlying message within the episode to push a sort of mankind united against threats.
Yeah.
That's sort of the underlying theme for that episode. The second story, now this is where I'm starting to think there might be that much credit. It says it's going to continue the Zygon incursion storyline, which is, if you remember the Zygon invasion, Zygon inversion, Peter Capaldi, they say it's going to continue that, and I think it's going to be a play on the government of Britain, where they're saying that it's going to be Zygons invading the US or the United Kingdom government, and attempting to put in a more conservative fascist regime. It's going to be taking a lot of inspiration from World War III, from Series 1. The third story is said it's going to be about the Weeping Angels, and according to the poster here, he hasn't exactly stated it, but it seems to be Chimble's writing this one. He's going to be taking a lot of inspiration from Broadchurch. It's going to be surrounding a man who's lost his wife and daughter to mysterious circumstances. And then we get to the finale. I'm sure this is the bit that everybody just is dreading the most, I think, out of all this. So we'll go into depth with it. The final story is going to feature it's going to discover what the division is that was brought up during the Timeless Children. We're going to see the Doctor leave Earth for the only time in this series, which suggests that all the rest of the stories, apart from the finale, are going to be set on Earth, whether be it modern day or be it in the past. I think that's sort of similar to what Series 12 did as well. So apparently the Doctor's going to leave Earth, tracing the Time Lord's signal to, it says here, the planet Kyan, but I think they mean Kjarn, where the sisterhood of Kjarn.
Yeah.
They're going to find Rassilon, who's taking refuge with them, and basically he's going to start telling the Doctor more about the Timeless Child. The division is going to return. The Master will be in the episode, but not as a main character, sort of a telepathic sense, as a devil on the shoulder to the Doctor. The episode 8 is going to feature, according to this anyway, I keep saying according to this, I'm not claiming that this is fact, as always. Episode 8 is going to feature the regeneration of Jodie Whittaker's Doctor and the departure of Yaz, allowing for the 14th Doctor and Dan to travel for Series 14. More information will be revealed about the Ruth Doctor, but some of the mystery will remain unsolved to be explored in Series 14 next year, and in Series 15, which is going to be in 2023, and the entire thing will wrap up with the 60th anniversary. So that's what's been said. The person that's posted this here thinks that it's plausible, but this might be mad. It probably sounds absolute madness, but
Yeah,
by the time this child rumours came along, everybody thought it was madness too. So
exactly. And I will say again, I did a video last night on this, right? So I put the link to the original thread of this poster in the link description. So if you want to go and check it out, yous ourselves, yous are more than welcome to do so. Again, as Marty says, we're not claiming any of this is fact. It's all rumor, and I think they always start off a thread anyway with take it with a pinch of salt. They're very careful to eat to say that as well. So we will say the same thing. Take all of this with a pinch of salt. The only reason, see, again, in the fandom, fans used to meet up at conventions and talk the latest rumors. Now, with the age of social media, we've been doing it for the last few years, but unfortunately, that's become a very toxic thing to do. As I said, I'm gonna always continue to do stuff like this, and when I do get some stuff from me sources, I will let you know. But again, we will not be dictated to by anybody what flow of information goes out there. And I do think you guys in the chat and everybody that watches this stream tonight has a right to know about these things, because this is what keeps us anyway interested while the show is off air. But Marky, let's get straight into it. I mean, okay, so one thing that the rumors do confirm, and again, they're just rumors, is that Jodie Whittaker will be regenerating. And from what I gather from the rumors that I'm listed about the John Bishop's character being brought in, so he's basically there to facilitate us in getting to know Yaz, which means that John Bishop's character is going to be prejudiced in some way towards Yaz, so there's an understanding, so the audience can relate, sort of thing. So that kind of worries me a little bit, how John Bishop's character is going to be used. The division and all of this timeless children and root doctor thing. To be honest, I don't know why you're going to explore it. Listen, this could be his way of tidying everything up, as he said, as I told you, he was told to leave the show in a good state. Maybe this his way. It is his way of somewhat doing all of that. But again, the one thing that has been missing from the Chris Chibnall era has been there hasn't been enough space. And if we're listening to these latest rumors again, we're again going to be on Earth. I mean, what is the problem? And I'm sorry, I'm just going to put that out there. And I know it's only a rumor, but this does annoy me, this rumor, this particular rumor. What is the problem with Jodie Whittaker's doctor going into outer space or going onto alien planets and actually doing something? Right now, people will point out certain episodes. Yeah, you're right. There were certain episodes out there, but mostly it was based on Earth. I mean, this is not Pertwee, right? Okay, this is Jodie Whittaker. And again, when you read the rumors, he seems to be taking a lot of inspiration or taking ideas from previous showrunners and then doing his own thing with them. It worries me. But Martin, what is the rumor that before you go on, I'll let you say what you're going to say there, but then I want to ask you this question. Which of those rumors worries you the most?
I think I'll answer this question. I'll answer that question first. I think it's I'm all right. It's hard to say. I think the finale is just the thing that I'm more worried about. Obviously, I think I think John Bishop's going to be it's going to be like Bradley Walsh. I think it's going to be the case where I'll like him in it as much as I love Bradley Walsh in it. I think I will like him in it, but at the end of the day, it's down to the writing, and of course, it's the finale, and I'm sort of expecting Chibnall to pull something similar to what happened in Future the 5th of June and pull some massive shocker, because what I'll say to you is, I've said this before, I've said this on every base and other forums, John Barrowman's has been in Cardiff for the past 6 8 weeks. He's been doing Dancing on Ice, which is 1 day a week, which is on a Sunday night. I would not be surprised, and he's staying in Cardiff. He will stay in Cardiff. He's back in the US now. I would not be surprised if during the rest of the week he was over the road. He was across the road filming stuff behind doors. I think that Barrowman is going to turn up at some stage. But no, going back to your anyway. Before I start going off the tangent, going back to your question, I think it's the finale that's worrying me the most out of all that. I mean, it depends how they write Bishop's character. As Daniel says, are they gonna have him sort of? See, I can't see him being somebody who's going to talk down to somebody, because knowing the way they have Whittaker's doctor, she would throw him off the TARDIS straight away. Like, if he done that, so I don't know. It seemed I know from filming pictures I've seen, that one of the very first episode, the scenes from episode 1, I think it's like scene 10, episode 1, he's walking with a woman. So I don't know if that's a sister or a wife or what the story is. Now I'm hoping to God that they don't repeat the whole Graham thing, Bradley Walsh, where John Bishop comes onto the TARDIS out of grief because he's lost his wife or his sister, because I think that would that's just cheap writing. But you know, he was seen with a woman at the start, and I think he's filming with the same actress today. So I just have this feeling that he's going to be a Graham 2.0, but I don't want him to be that.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
I do. Yeah, I am a bit worried about his character now. And again, interestingly, he's a white male. You know, and when you said like he's going to be brought in as a kind of a, you know, for the audience to understand, yes, well then he's either going to have to do something bad for it to be highlighted so they can then deal with the issue on the episode, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be something about his past, that he hasn't treated women well, or something. I just don't know, and that worries me, because we don't need that again. Listen, we get it, right?
See,
white men bad, single men bad.
I think they might go down the mental health route, because we know she had that they were trying to imply that she had mental health issues way back before she met the doctor. So could they be trying to put the same thing in John Bishop's character, where he had mental health issues, and they sort of try and develop him and Yaz together? Maybe, I don't know.
Actually, David Rayner says, does he hate cops? That's what it could be. It could be something like that. See, this is why I'm afraid. See, because this is what's been happening, and that's why I can't get me head away from that, because it's always going to go back to that. Well, what are they going to do with John Bishop's character? And it shouldn't be that. We should be excited. He's going on the TARDIS. He's supposed to be traveling around with the Doctor and enjoying adventures and getting themselves into a bit of a mess. But it seems to me that they're going to use his character to kind of somehow, you know, either deal with the issue of racism or something. I just don't know. Why can't you just have a bloke in the TARDIS that just gets on with everybody? Why does the bloke have to have all these blokes have to have have to be toxic or perceived to be toxic?
I think.
Why can't we? And I know they did it in the old era, but they did it properly. Again, I just feel that he's just going to be used like Bradley Walsh. You know, he's not going to be a character of much. He's going to be everybody's favourite, I bet you. Again, like Graham O'Brien was. I reckon he will be a fan favourite. But again, he'll only be a fan favourite because of what they're doing to his character. And we know that, you know, and maybe Bradley Walsh did step down. Maybe Bradley Walsh seen what was coming and said, no, I don't want any part of that.
Yeah. I've been speaking to people over the past couple of days since I've started filming Liverpool. I know people who work on shows. As you probably know before, I'm studying in the industry. I'm studying media. I hope to be a producer someday. But I've been speaking to people who work on shows, people who I know well, like, just sort of people who I've met in the past year. And I put the question to them, and I says, just sort of was trying to figure out filming, and I didn't say the word Doctor Who, but I just sort of implied, how that would work. And I says, listen, uh, if say you were starting production on a show last year, what way would that work? And what the two of them have told me, they said that they reckon that the production would have started. They would have done all the interior stuff first, and
Yeah,
they would have done, as the lockdown eased, it would have meant they were able to travel to different places in England or wherever be to film the exterior shots. So I think, based on that, what they told me, I think if we're talking in terms of, I'm talking in terms now of where they are filming the series, I think it wouldn't surprise me if they have most stuff or the majority of the interior stuff done for Series 13 now, and they're just, because we know apparently they're staying in Liverpool the whole week. They're in some museum now in Liverpool at the minute. There's talk that's episode 5. I don't know what the story's supposed to be, but I reckon that they've probably got the majority of the interior stuff done.
yeah.
The rest of what we're going to see now is
Interesting question though, Marty, right? With what I've been hearing and listening to though, do you think somehow, right, because it sounds like it's going to be based on Earth again, do you think somehow that they're going to try write in this pandemic into the series?
I
I
don't
was
think
thinking if the Sontarans are going to be in the first 2 episodes, maybe they do something that Earth has to be quarantined, and that's why she's staying on Earth.
it could be, but I think the only reason I have to doubt that is because I've been looking at videos of filming, and the people who are on set, the likes of Jodie Mandip and John Bishop, they're all together. There's no
Yeah, they're not wearing masks. They're in that bubble, but the other crew are wearing masks. I've
yeah.
seen that in the photos actually. So yeah, the ones behind the camera and the ones that are doing the makeup are all wearing their masks.
Uh-huh.
But the cast are not, because that was the one thing that surprised me when I seen the photograph of Whitaker and Mandeep. Like, they're basically laughing out loud, but they're standing right beside each other. But we've got to remember that they have been in their own little bubble, and that's how they're able to film. I still will say this though: how anybody ever thought that filming was an essential in the situation that we're in, I will never fully understand. And I'm not just talking about Doctor Who; I'm talking in general. But I suppose we do need something. But you're right. I mean, I reckon there's how many more months of filming do you reckon left?
Joe Bishop said that they're filming through to July, so give or take, there's about 3 months left filming.
Yeah.
There's about 3 months left. I see Stephen Morris in the comments talking about a new the villains leaked, so I'm going to have a look online to see what he means. Not that I'm saying he's bullshitting, but I'm just going to have a look.
What's being leaked? What?
He says that there's a new alien character, some new villain that's being leaked on the internet from filming.
Right. Well, yeah. So if you find that there, I don't know if we'll be able to show. Well, we might show. We'll take the risk.
Stephen, if you can hear me, does it look like sort of a? I suppose the only way I can describe this is like a fat Darth Vader. That's sort of the way I look at it here, and I can describe it. New alien character on Doctor Who set in Liverpool. That's just the post. Yeah, apparently it says here, just spoken to someone on set that the Doctor Who film in Liverpool today. Apparently Jodie was here for Monday, will not be here for any more filming in Liverpool. Mandip Gill and John John Bishop's still there today, and he'll be there tomorrow.
Retweet me in that tweet, or retweet it to me, or tag me in it, or something, so I can see the tweet itself.
I'll send it straight to you, sure, on Twitter.
Yeah. Now listen, guys. I won't show it on the stream right now, because for the simple fact is I'll have to wait I might have to put it in a when I do a bit more research.
Uh,
Talk to the person because yeah, that is.
yes, creeper.
If you just give us a second, I just have to bring stuff into the bedroom to Cheryl, if you don't mind. So if you can just talk there and give your thoughts on the rest of the rumors or whatever, you go ahead.
No bother. Take your time. Take your time. So how is everybody anyway? Let me know how you all are. Uh, I'm busy, very 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 busy the past few days. So yeah, as I say, like there's lots of stuff that come up. I don't claim to be 100%. I just report what I hear. I report what I think's credible, and I stay near. I stay away from stuff I don't think's credible. Um, as I say, like I don't claim any of this is 100% unless there's solid concrete proof that um, that it's true. Jamie tipped on. I'm glad there's no Daleks or Cybermen. Well, thing is, I still reckon, right, as David Rayner says, I still reckon that the Daleks are going to turn up. I still think that she might, because Chibnall obviously didn't want to do an introduction story with Jodie Whittaker. Like, he did not want to do Christmas 17 because Holiday was leaving. That's why Moffat done Twice Upon a Time.
Right, because apparently Stephen Morris has said that there's hundreds of photos
Here,
up on.
I've been saving them here, and I will send them to you now.
Right, well, send them to me. I'll tell you what, just send them to me and we'll show. If they're leaked, they're already on Twitter. I mean, nothing I can do about it. I'll show the Twitter account that comes from. I can't be held responsible for who leaks what on Twitter.
10 years it's leaked it. So a friend of yours that a guy that you had a bit of a spat with on Twitter, Mr. Creeper, we'll call him.
Oh, okay. I won't be able to share his stuff because because they're deliberately trying to deplatform me. But we won't get into that. But if you want to see those photos, you will have to go into Twitter yourselves. Unfortunately, I'm glad you told me who it was from, because if I had shared them, that's all the excuse they need.
Yeah, that's a photo there from a different account I sent you. That's another one. It's sort of a skull face. It's
Skeletor's back in the Doctor Who universe. Of the universe.
It's there you go. That's that theory out the window. This is that rumor is out the window that was just read out, but maybe it's not. Maybe there is part of it that is true. I know from some photos last week or the week before, I think they were filming in a country village with an old Jag. I think there was people in like period clothing, so it looked like they were filming. It looked like they were filming something in the 60s or 70s. So maybe the Weeping Angel stories in the 60s or 70s, which I wouldn't mind.
But they're still on Earth though.
Yeah,
we did say the rumor just said Earth. It didn't specify, but it doesn't matter. As we said anyway, it's all rumor. We were just discussing it. Just because photos have come out doesn't necessarily mean that you're wrong or
I've said this before. I know from what I've heard, it seems to be that they originally were going to do more space type stuff, but obviously they wanted to go to South Africa to get the landscape and whatnot for that. I mean, no harm. They're in Wales. Why the hell could they not get on a plane and come to Dublin or go to the likes of Donegal? There's plenty of places in Ireland that I see that would just fit for Alien Beach perfectly. As I say, they run to the likes of South Africa or Spain and all to get these great landscapes. I'm probably being biased here by saying this, but there's plenty of landscapes in Ireland. Maybe they can't film over here. Maybe they're not allowed to because of the different restrictions and whatnot. But there's plenty of landscapes in Ireland along the coast of Kerry or Donegal or somewhere that would suit the alien world well, because I've done a bit of traveling and I've seen places. I've actually, my brother has a house in Donegal, so I know. I know sometimes when I see different things, the likes of up and Downings and Dunfanaghy and all, people who are from Ireland know these places. But
I really want to show these pictures. Is there
see the two images I sent you aren't from that person's account. They're from
I don't
different.
know. Right. So the ones where you can see the villain or the potential villain clear are the two that are not from that person's account. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Well, then I will show them because potential leak. So here we go. Potential spoiler. So if you don't want to see any spoilers right now, I would advise you to turn off. Now this could be anybody. Someone has made the suggestion it could be a street performer, but I don't know who anybody that street performs during the pandemic. I've never heard that so stupid in all my life, actually. But here we go. Hold on. I'll just show the photos, right? So here's the first photo. These are leaked on Twitter. Okay, so just to make that clear, these are being leaked by all the bigger YouTubers out there. So if any of these people now have a problem with me showing it, it goes to show what they're all about. They just don't want me to be the one that actually puts out stuff. So here is one of the photos. Hold on, no, we want to be careful that we don't. So there you go. I think that's John Bishop in the back there. Now there's someone with a mask on. So I reckon they're probably on a break there. But that looks like John Bishop there sitting with someone.
Does look like him. I know that area there was where they were filming this must be episode 1 then, because I know that's where they were filming. They were filming the exterior shots. The clapperboard said 110, so that's episode 1.
Right. Well, here we've got another photo that Marty was kind enough to show us. So this is another potential. Well, it's the same picture but from a different angle. So he's walking away there, and this guy has picked up the stuff that was in front of him. There's a couple of people in the background there. One's wearing a mask, you can see clearly there. He's actually in a weird kind of pose there, but there you go. So there, the potential. So there you go. Don't know what you actually think of that, folks. It's always good when we're live and something like that happens. Because as I said, it keeps us interested. I will say something. He mightn't be able to execute his stories very well, but it is intriguing to see the way his brain works when it comes to villains.
Yeah.
I mean, Series 11 was a write-off, but Series 12, I mean, the villains weren't too bad, and we've seen obviously the Santarans, we've seen the new get-up that they're in, and it looks kind of old school. I'm actually probably thinking that, right, here's the thing, because you were talking about your rumors as well. Hear me out, I've got a mad idea. What if the Earth that they're on, present-day Earth, has somehow fractured, and there's different time? Like that episode that they kind of had, like with Torchwood, where
Yes.
where Jack go back through time. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Maybe they do something kind of like that. Maybe there's fractures on Earth, and they end up in these different time periods, but it's still on the same planet Earth. Do you get me?
it could be. You just anything's open to discussion. That's the Stephen Morris. I'm looking in the comments here. Catherine Tate's CV. What is that about now? I just glanced. I see Catherine Tate's CV.
Right, yeah. I want to talk about Catherine Tate as well, actually, because there was news, actually. So, do you remember that Liverpool Echo article that showed the TARDIS and Manny Gill? They said they were filming in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Well, apparently now I haven't been able to verify this, or nobody has. This could be just someone out there just saying this to get fans excited. But apparently, she was supposed to be in the area too. So someone out there has speculated or came to the conclusion that maybe she's returning. Donna Noble is returning. That was one of the videos that I did a couple of nights ago. Actually, we were going to originally talk about that as well. Well, this obviously is bigger news, but we'll be discussing all of these rumors on Friday on the TARDIS Zone Talk. So if you want to come on, you're more than welcome. But yeah, there's rumors of Catherine Tate. But listen, I said this early last year anyway. I says, don't be surprised if you hear companion after companion's name being mentioned in connection to this series that's coming up. Right? Now, why do I say that? Well, it's quite simple. They brought Captain Jack back. Now, the two times that they brought Captain Jack back, whether people agree with me or not, it is a fact. The ratings took a boost, right? Okay, they took a slight boost, not much of a boost, but they still took a boost. Now, BBC could be looking into this, and Chris Chibnall could be looking at this and saying, well, if that's what Captain Jack can do, what would a Donna Noble or a Rose Tyler or a Martha Jones or an Amy Pond or a Rory would do to the ratings?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying that she was there because I can't verify it. But apparently this was actually reported on, by the way. So that was the thing. This was reported on that she was seen in the area. Now, if that is true, and she is somehow involved in this project, I'd be very disappointed. Not with Catherine Tate or Atten. I'd be very disappointed that Chibnall's the one that's bringing her back. Because, I think on it as a companion, and if this was true, if he's anyway does that with her character, I just don't believe he can.
Her story's finished for me. Like if they went back and touched her story, I think it would ruin.
I don't necessarily think about it. He did block our mind. He did wipe our mind. But what if, when he wiped our mind, he didn't wipe everything? Because remember, he did leave that safety device in her. Remember when the Master found her and then he knocked her out? Yeah, and I wiped all the thing. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they could see. This is the thing. It's Doctor Who. It's science fiction. They could go back to a time where when he did the mind wipe, there was some information that was left inside Donna Noble's head that only she has, that they need to get for whatever, whoever the villain was. I'm just speculating here, by the way. What's good about these rumors is that now as fans, I'm excited. I'm speculating. Marty's the same. You guys in the chat will be the same. And I know on Friday, a lot of you are going to have, by the chat, I could see that a lot of you are going to have a lot to say on Friday. So listen, don't be shy, right? Because I want to see a lot of people on Friday, right? The more the merrier. Come on, have your say. Tell us what you think of these latest rumors, the Catherine Tate rumors. Torchwood as well, by the way. Apparently, Screen Leak have said that Series 5 will indeed happen on BBC 3, and that they expect that there'll be some sort of an announcement made, because the socials on Torchwood have gone all quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now, this bothers me because on numerous levels, because the main show is not in a good, healthy state. Now, if BBC want to shoot themselves in the foot, then I'm not going to stand in their way. I will actually encourage this project if rumours are to be believed. If this is what you are planning on doing, please do it. Please do it. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. People are going to flock to go and see Torchwood, you see. What's going to happen then is it's going to embarrass the BBC. And why? Because it's going to get bigger ratings than the main show, Doctor Who. And then that'll be an embarrassment that you won't come back from. Now, it might be an embarrassment to use because you will look at it as a success. But I'm going to tell you, as a Doctor Who fan, and to see to see a spin-off Torchwood when RTD introduced it to us all, right? We were all excited, happy. Doctor Who was at its was coming back to great times. It was at its height, in my opinion. And now you want to bring back a show that is cancelled after. Well, it went to America. It's not your fault, but I suppose RTD going to America didn't help the show. Should have stayed in Cardiff or London, I believe.
Yeah.
Take between the two. It's a British-based show. Keep it in Britain. As soon as you go to America, that's when it loses all its charm. In fairness, Series 4 is not as bad as people make out to be. There were some good moments in it, but overall, the ending was shit. I'm not even going to go into the end. But if they are doing this, do it. I want you to do it because it will show the glaring problems that you have with Doctor Who. It will definitely show it because I would like to see. Now, listen, people think I'm mad, right? But I'd like to see Chris Chibnall take over Torchwood because that's where I do believe he did do his best work.
Yeah,
I do believe his best work is on Torchwood. Yeah, people will say Broadchurch Series 1. I'll agree, it's up there. But for me, his best work was on Torchwood. Now I know people will bring up that certain episode which I won't name. But in saying that, other than that, I thought he was pretty solid. Torchwood is a bit more detective based anyway, and that's what he's good at doing. Now, if he's going to do this for Series 13, which if she's staying on Earth, it does suggest to me that her series is going to be a bit more investigative, a bit more like a detective. Now, I wouldn't be against that because that's where Chris Chibnall is strong, in my opinion. Now, if he's finally doing that with Doctor Who, great, because he got it all wrong in Series 11. So,
yeah.
Series 12, he tried to give us the familiar, and it just didn't work. Now, Series 13 has to be his last. I don't like the rumours because they do suggest this timeless children nonsense is going to be continued after Series 13, which suggests that Chris Chibnall's going nowhere and it's only Jodie Whittaker that's going to be sacrificed. I mean, how are people going to feel if he's still going to be showrunner? I mean, I don't think he's good enough, lads. He's not good enough.
I think, according to that, the first thing I'll say is, obviously that poster seems to also be suggesting that it's going to be a continuation from Children of Earth. So are they retconning Miracle Day here, or are they basing it before Miracle Day? I don't know. I can't see them basing it before Miracle Days, but I don't know. I'm not a big fan of Miracle Day, but I don't think it's as bad as what people made it out to be. What I will say is Series 2 of Torchwood, for me, is pretty decent.
It is. I agree. I think Season 1 they were finding their feet, but Series 2 I think they did find their feet. And I did like Series 3. I like Children of the Earth, wasn't it? That was brilliant. That was brilliant to see that side of Jack as well, to know what he did. That was just seriously that series. That's my favorite Torchwood series.
When I was 9 years of age, begging my mother to let me sit up and watch it, and I had nightmares for weeks after that. It was just, I mean, it was brilliant. I mean, I still like that will always stick out. Like that scene where he sacrifices his own grandchild to save the world. I mean, that just so dark. I mean, this is probably a bad thing to say, but I wish that Torchwood would sort of, maybe it's not for everybody this, but I would have loved it if it had come back to sort of delve a bit more in that area.
Yeah, I agree. No, I think Captain Jack, I think he's an interesting character. I think there's still a lot to explore about him. And I think the Torchwood team, how they could get involved is Jack's past starts to catch up on him.
Yeah.
And we start seeing all of this play out and have our flashbacks. But even the scene with Peter Capaldi where he makes the decision to kill himself, his wife and his kids. I mean, that's pretty powerful feckin' stuff right there as well. That's what I mean. Look, we can criticize him with Doctor Who, right? He's the wrong showrunner for Doctor Who. For Torchwood, I don't think so. And people can argue with me on it and can disagree with me on it, but that's my opinion on it. I think he is better suited to Torchwood than he is to Doctor Who. Now, does he get everything right on Torchwood? No, of course he doesn't. Of course he doesn't. But he's far better than what he does for Doctor Who. Doctor Who is failing on all levels. And it's sad to see. It's sad to see. Maybe he knows he's over his head. Maybe he just, he'd rather stay there and fight and prove everybody wrong rather than do the right thing, which would be to step down and admit. Well, you don't have to admit, but you could step down.
If he left and went away, if they are bringing back Torchwood, which I do think they are going to do, if they do bring it back and Chimbles is right, I'm off here. I'm leaving Doctor Who, but I'm going to run Torchwood, and whoever is Maxine Aldrin or whatever's coming in to run Series 14, all right, whatever. If he goes to Torchwood and makes a decent Torchwood series, fair play to the man. Absolutely fair play. If he makes a decent Torchwood series, it's well done, like Series 2, Series 3 was, then something, fair play to him. As long as he doesn't fuck it up, has decent material, I'll applaud the man. But I'm in the same book as you. I think he's far better suited to the more adult themes of Torchwood.
Yeah. I'd have to agree with you on that one, and I think he would deserve a lot of praise, because for someone like him to step down, if he did say, right, okay, I'll take, if he's are bringing Torchwood back, I want to be the man to do it. I know I didn't get right, say behind the scenes, I know I didn't get it right with Doctor Who, but I'll get it right with Torchwood, right? And if he did get it right with Torchwood, you're right, he would deserve a lot of credit for that, because to bounce back from his disappointment and his failure in Doctor Who, that would be an amazing comeback, actually.
Yeah,
that would be an amazing comeback.
I'd forgive. Well, he would earn my respect, Chibnall, if he done that. Like if he said, "Listen, I have made the balls of Doctor Who. Listen, I'm going to do Torchwood, and whoever it is taking over Doctor Who, and Doctor Who gets back to some sort of sense of decency, and he does a good series of Torchwood, I'll say, you know what, you made the right decision leaving. I know you probably didn't want to leave, but you've made the fans happy, and you've brought Torchwood back, and you've made those fans happy too, so it's a win-win for everybody here.
Yeah, true. You're right. Torchwood wasn't for everybody. I mean, there's Doctor Who fans that I talk to that when I discuss Torchwood or bring it up, they're like, you watched Torchwood? I go, yeah, I liked it. But again though, RTD was clever. He knew that certain people, RTD and Chris Chibnall, when they did Torchwood together, they knew what audience they wanted to go for, and with Doctor Who in such a healthy state as well. I mean, they had the family then sitting down and watching Doctor Who together. I remember we did have Torchwood. They did incorporate then Torchwood into the series of Doctor Who as well. Actually, there's a famous line in it where Martha Jones uses the teleporter, and Captain Jack actually says a chorus line in it, but because he says it under his breath. But that's one of the favorite. Remember where he kicks when he's on the phone to Martha, and she uses the teleporter to try. And he kicks the ground, and he goes, Martha Jones is down. Yeah, well, he really did hurt his foot there for that scene, but he also slipped up and let out an owl bad word, but it was so low that you couldn't hear it. But you could hear that, you could see by his face exactly what he was saying. It was funny. We've always kind of joked about that in the fandom as well. I like that. But I like the way they incorporated Torchwood into the main show, though. Even though it was a kind of toned down version for the show, it still kept they still had their personalities. It didn't,
happening. I think that if I'm right, and because I was told that Barman was filming, so if I put them two to two together, and this is my theory on it now. So this is what I think could happen here is we could have the case in an episode where, say, right, the Doctor, Yaz, and Dan are all trapped. There's nothing they can do. There's no way out. They're basically, they can't do anything. Say they're on Earth. I'm just right at the last second when you think everything's lost. A big black Jeep pulls up and that steps Martha Jones, Mickey Smith, Gwen Cooper, and Captain Jack. And the Torchwood theme starts belting. And as they come to save the day, yeah. I would actually jump out of my seat if that happened.
Same. Listen, I will defend Torchwood. It has its critics, but I will defend it. I mean, there was some very good stories even in season 1, season 2 as well. It did have some bad stories. I'm not going to look at not every show. Remember, I think we've kind of gotten into this vicious circle where years ago we enjoyed a show, and even if it did have bad episodes, we didn't write off the whole show. We didn't start criticizing stuff. Now I see now with shows, one bad episode and everybody is up in arms.
I know. That's the thing.
I saw it was the same when I was watching The Mandalorian, right? When I was doing reviews for that and I was listening to people. One bad thing in the episode or one bad episode as perceived by certain people out there, they're writing the whole show off.
Yeah, that's
We've forgotten that not everything was perfect back in our day either. Remember, all those shows that we love and all those movies that we love, whether you like it or not, they're not perfect. We didn't have perfect entertainment either, not every single thing. There are exceptions to the rule, of course. There are shows out there that produce episode after episode that are fantastic, but that's not the reality of the whole situation. And I think one bad episode, it kind of like, then you have people streaming about and moaning about it, sets the tone then people don't want to watch the rest. And I think that's wrong. Look I haven't liked series 11 or 12, right? There are 1 or 2 episodes in each season. Well, except for actually, sorry, I'll rephrase that. Series 11 is a complete write-off, so there's not one episode that I actually like in series 11, right?
Yeah.
In series 12, there were a couple of episodes that I did. I did like Spyfall Part 1, actually.
Uh-huh.
I even said that when I did my review. A lot of people were surprised. I did like that. And you know what? I'll be criticised for this again, but I did like The Fugitive of the Jadoon. I did like the way the Jadoon looked were a lot better. I have to say, I like the way. See, again, when Chris Chibnall does bring villains like back, that he does seem to improve on them slightly. Not all the time. Even the Daleks are more sinister. I don't like the design. See, there's something with Chris Chibnall, right? He'll do one good thing, but there'll be something bad to parallel it, if you get what I mean. Yeah. It can't be all good. So, but I think the Jadoon were perfect. Even the little spiky hair that everybody was giving out about, I actually thought that added something to them and it made them look more realistic, actually.
Yeah, that's it. And there's another thing too. I know I don't want to. I'm sort of steering the conversation off in a different tangent. People are on about ratings. I know the ratings debate has spewed on, and there's people saying it'll probably get the lowest ratings in history, series 13. I mean, it may happen, but this is something I wanted to bring up. I don't know if any's in the comments or even yourself know our fan of Line of Duty. Line of Duty came back on Sunday night, and brilliant show. I love it. It's filmed in Belfast. It was filmed during the pandemic. I just absolutely love it. that Sunday night, it had a 9 o'clock slot on a Sunday night. It got 9.6 million viewers on the overnights, and
Right.
that's before you even take in whoever watched on iPlayer. So you see that silly debate that people seem to be having, that ratings, oh, Doctor, there's people now that are would rather watch it online after, or there's more people now are starting to watch it instead of watching it live. People are starting to watch it on tablets. I'm sorry, but that argument doesn't stand up anymore. And this is, if there's anybody listening from that sort of side of the argument, your argument's just been shot dead. Because at the end of the day, Line of Duty, if 9.6 million people are willing to sit down on a Sunday night and watch a drama, there's no reason why 9.6 million people can't sit down and watch Doctor Who. If the show is decent, well written, and has a good story arc running way through it, I
agree. I remember actually, Marty, believe it or not, seeing a thread by someone on Twitter who isn't a fan of me, of course.
Yeah.
Who are actually, they were commenting on the ratings about something, and then they made the suggestion that maybe the rating system or the ratings were broken because Doctor Who obviously wasn't getting the ratings that they believed they should be getting. Look, at the bottom line is this, right? The ratings argument has been completely smashed because when we brought up ratings originally, right, they used to say, well, ratings are important because Jodie Whittaker's first episode nearly got 12 million viewers, so ratings do. But as soon as they start declining, they change their tune, right, as they always do. Then they start to say the ratings didn't matter, right?
Yeah.
But then when we pointed that out, then you were getting YouTubers doing videos and streams to spin the ratings. Now we've got this new excuse: the rating system is broken. The rating system that we have now is probably the most perfect rating system that we have. It takes in to account the people that watch live and after the fact and live stream. So there is no excuse. The reason why the ratings are low on Doctor Who is for one simple fact and one simple fact only, right? Forget about all the other arguments about Whittaker being the first female doctor and all of that. That did have an impact, yes, not going to lie. But the main factor here is the writing. Because if Chris Chibnall, even after all of the arguments about Whittaker's doctor, if he had gave her great scripts and she hit the ground running, right? Just say, imagine we lived in that world where that did actually happen.
Yeah.
Where she blew us all away. We were all surprised and we said, okay, she is the doctor, right? And Chris Chibnall was producing script after script that was absolutely brilliant, right?
Yeah.
What you know what I mean? Like what?
There is no reason why that show, if that had happened, and if things had panned out just the way you said there is no reason why that show couldn't have been getting 9.5 million viewers.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Even with those people hesitating, if she had done a Heath Ledger of the, because we were talking about Batman before, but if she had done a Heath Ledger and he had done a Christopher Nolan and produced script after script that was engaging, entertaining, interesting, scary, and she was everything that we wanted a doctor to be, right? Then you're right. No way that this show couldn't hit the levels that it did when it came back. The 12 million mark. For me, that's the mark that the show has never hit since Russell T has been in charge. That 12 million mark, that over 12 million mark, right? That's where I judge Doctor Who on its success. Now,
I have said this before, right? You notice, one thing you'll notice about shows that are hitting that, three things, and as someone who wants to be a producer, and I hope maybe if the stars align in years to come, that I somehow end up working on this show. I've said this before about all the shows that are doing well at the minute. Look at any of those Netflix shows. Look at the likes of Line of Duty. Look at other these shows that are popular. There's three different things that is going on in them. Number one, They have a continuous story arc going through it. Now, I know Doctor Who has one-off episodes. Yes, don't get me wrong, I like one-off episodes. But what's keeping viewers engaged at the minute is episodes that have the story arc starting from the very first episode and running the whole way up until the last episode. Engaging viewers with every single episode. Having a cliffhanger on every single episode that makes people think, shit, I can't wait. I need to see the next episode now. I think that's what Doctor Who needs to get people.
But you see, here's the thing. The writers of Line of Duty, right?
Yeah.
Obviously been doing it a long time. They know what the audience wants, right?
Yeah,
so they give it season after season after season. Again, another big difference, as you said, their stories are engaging from minute one, right? There is there's different threads to that show. I mean, we watch Gogglebox, and when every time they show an episode, I keep looking at Cheryl and we keep saying, now we still haven't watched it, but we keep saying we have to watch this from the beginning because it looks brilliant. Because we're sitting here, we're literally just watching a 2-minute clip on a different show, right? And I'm literally here and I'm like, wow, didn't see that. I was blown away. I was like, we have to watch it. So yeah, but again, the thing is, BBC, the writers know who the audience is, and they keep giving what the people want. Doctor Who's completely different. See, the difference between Doctor Who and Line of Duty is that in Line of Duty, the characters are well developed and they all have a purpose, right? But a purpose that pertains to the show. Whereas for Doctor Who, all the characters that are brought in have an agenda or have some sort of political point to make, or whatever it is. It's either global warming, or it's single men bad, or unmarried fathers bad, and all of this rubbish, right? That's what they're used for. That's the difference. Doctor Who uses their characters to get across a particular agenda, a particular point, whereas Line of Duty, it's all about the story, character development.
It's very character driven, because you notice, arguably, you could make the comparisons with Doctor Who and Line of Duty, where like Doctor Who focuses on the issues, like say like a father, say like that episode in series 11 where the father is estranged from the mother and the child and all. I mean, those themes that you see in Doctor Who are present in Line of Duty, but what makes them work is that they're not the center of the story. The character is the center of the story, and what that character feels and what they experience and what they go through, and that's what people can relate to. If you're putting the theme if you're making that the whole issue of the story, like several episodes in series 11 have done, then nobody can relate to that, because you're constantly getting bashed over the head with saying, oh, well, climate change, you should be paying attention to this and this, that, and the other. Whereas, themes like that are in the background. It's sort of similar to how RTD done it. RTD was
exactly until Chris Chibnall or whoever takes over after him goes back to actually just telling stories and developing characters and strong characters. You can have strong male and female characters within Doctor Who. They've done it throughout their past, and they've done it within New Who. There's no way that they cannot continue to do this in the proper manner, instead of alienating some of your audience. And you're not just alienating older fans or just men. You're alienating a lot of women too, and young girls, right? I mean, there are a lot of young girls and women out there that I can tell you, I know a lot of women out there that have been part of this channel, that I follow on Twitter, that follow my wife, and the one thing that they say is that they didn't need a female doctor to feel strong. There were strong female characters within Doctor Who done properly. I mean, we go back to the show, and I keep bringing this up, we go back to the show's past. I mean, without Verity Lambert, we wouldn't be sitting here talking today. So when we get labelled all of this nonsense sexist, listen for a minute. I know how important women's roles were in Doctor Who, and they played a pivotal part in the history of the show. They will be remembered forever for what they did. It's not just Verity. There were other women involved as well, whether it was whether it was director was executive producing. directing, whatever it was, writing stories. It doesn't matter. It had a huge influence and a huge impact on Doctor Who for the good, and nobody will ever deny that. So, again, this is why I go mad with when we get accused of being sexist. This is not coming from a sexist point of view. It's coming from a point of view where I see how women have been treated in Doctor Who's past, and it's up until its recent present. And it was done respectfully. There was a lot of strong women, even in New Who, Amy Pond, River Song, Martha Jones, even Rose Tyler, to name a few. Liz, Queen Liz, another strong character, Jenny, Vastra, Clara. I mean, the list goes on and on of all of these strong women that have influenced Doctor Who. Even Jackie, up to a certain point, near the end, her character arc, she did become, because remember, she ended up going with Mickey on that bloody Dalek at the end of Series 4 for Journey's End. Remember, she lands on the Dalek ship with Mickey with the teleporters. Like, that was brave. Jackie, remember when we first saw Jackie, right? She was flirting with the Doctor, obviously, but the first time she saw an alien, look at the way she reacted, and look at the way she reacted then when she was in that episode. That's character development, right? We've seen her all the way through. We've seen this woman grow, and then that's her there then. She's there because her daughter is gone. She's coming to rescue her daughter. That's Jackie Tyler's story. And you would never have thought that of Jackie when you first seen her. Look at Mickey, his character development. Again, I know this is a bloke, but again, you look at the character development, you look at how characters were treated and how they were written. It was all done respectfully. And Chris Chibnall, unfortunately, he could do it with Torchwood, which is the baffling thing, but he just doesn't seem to be able to do it with Doctor Who. And I'm not saying, I accused him of being disrespectful, and I just don't think he's capable of doing it. And with that, that's enough for me to say, well, you're not the right man for the job. Well, when they were sitting down making the decision, they should have took one look at his CV and says, right, okay, no. And that was it.
I know I'm biased, but it should have been, if they wanted somebody who is experienced Doctor Who writer, experienced sci-fi writer, and has ran their own show, the first person they should have rang was Toby Whithouse. That's what I would have picked. That's the person I would have picked for it. He was the guy for it. I mean, he done Being Human. He ran his own show. He wrote sci-fi. He wrote Doctor Who. He ticks all the boxes. Why the hell did they not get him? And that's the
or Mark Gatiss.
Mark seemed to be seen. I think you said this before, but I think you said this before. Mark Gatiss always seemed like the natural successor.
He did, but I think they come as a duo and they enjoy working together. And I don't think he wanted to break up that duo, because let's be honest, they do come up with some mind-boggling stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at their first season of Sherlock. I mean, that was brilliant. I mean, the first couple of seasons of Sherlock were great until then they introduced Mary, which wasn't bad. I did like Mary as a character, but then the whole tone changed, the whole dynamic changed.
David he says that Gatiss is an awful writer. Obviously, Sleep No More was an absolute disaster.
It was.
But I like the Crimson Horror. I like it. It's a nice.
Crimson Horror is a great story. No, I'll defend that as well, because that does get some stick. I love that episode. That is one of that brilliant episode. Matt Smith and all in that. When he comes out with his face all red, isn't it? Comes out and the way he's looking, brilliant. No, that's a cracking story. Listen, he hasn't. He also did, I think, the Silurian. No, that was Chris Chibnall, was it? Yeah, that was Chris Chibnall. Sorry. But look, Toby Whithouse, he's always been a favourite of mine. So, Marty, I would agree with you on that one. I wouldn't have minded him taking over.
Even he was the guy that I remember hearing the rumours that Moffat was leaving, and I was like, Christ, I was like, please be Toby Woodhouse, please be Toby Woodhouse. And then I heard it was Chibnall, and then I think that sort of with the doubt started to kick in. But I went and watched some of Broadchurch, and I thought it was great. But his Doctor Who episodes just weren't up to par. I mean, at the end of the day,
Why can I ask you though? Because we never really asked this, right? And I want to ask you guys on Friday, because when we talk to Rumours, I will finish by asking you all this question. Why do you think he's Why do you think he's found it a struggle on Doctor Who? I think you all know where I stand on it. I've explained where I think I stand, but I don't think I've ever asked you guys actually. Why do you think he struggles with Doctor Who? Is it the pressure of such a big sci-fi show, or is it just the simple fact is he's not that level of writer? He just isn't the right sort of writer. As I said, even Andrew Cartmel, when he was talking on Eddie's stream, he was talking about this. Now, you only talked briefly about Chibnall, but you could tell that they don't really. There was a bit of bad blood, a bit miscommunication. Chibnall was supposed to meet him or something. He was telling the story, and it never happened. It kept getting pushed off, and all of this. But he did actually say though, when he was announced the showrunner, he was surprised by the announcement. But then he also added that when he heard that he was casting a woman, it was like as if Chris Chibnall was throwing the kitchen sink at it all. And I do believe that was the case. I do believe that he believed that the show needed to be rescued from its ratings decline, which he's right, and BBC were right. Under Moffat near the end, the show did decline. Now, I mean, Gorminator was talking about this on the last stream just briefly, but when Peter Capaldi was cast, that did turn off a lot of the, as he said, as he calls them, the teeny boppers. And that is true. A lot of them didn't like the older Doc, but then it was only a year or two after. And a lot of these younger fans now at the time that didn't like Peter Capaldi watch now, and then they actually say, I regret that I didn't watch it at the time. But they loved Matt Smith and David Tennant so much that it was hard for them to take an older Doctor. I thought he was perfectly cast. I just feels bad for Peter Capaldi that he was there while the show continued to decline. Listen, we have never denied that under Peter Capaldi, Moffat's last few seasons, that Doctor Who was in decline, ratings-wise. It was. The difference was though that the decline was actually slow, right? Then you heard Jodie Whittaker, right? And then got in Chris Chibnall. And if you could see it, I'm actually doing, so it's on a slow decline, and then it takes a sharp upturn, right? Because nearly 12 million people watched. And then you just see that sharp turn slowly go down, go down, go down, go down, go down. And it's like, it's at a 45 degree. It's not even a 45 degree angle anymore now. It's that steep, right? It a decline under Whittaker, and it's not her fault, by the way, right? Look, no matter what we say, she made some ill decisions. She said some things that she shouldn't have said. She was miscast, just like I think Chibnall was the wrong man. But it does come down to him. He's the one that has failed, not just Jodie Whittaker, but he has failed as showrunner, and he has failed the fans as well. And the fact that him and Stevens have openly come out and basically said, listen, it's not a democracy, we'll do what we want when we're in charge, just shows you the disregard that they have for fans for this show. Now, they'll pander to the other lot, but go for it. What's happened over the last 3 years, you see where your pandering has got you. It's got you the lowest rated show that was once one of the Jordan, as I said, the 50th anniversary. This show was on a high. It was. I think Doctor Who fans weren't ashamed to come out and actually say that they were Doctor Who fans. Remember, though, it used to be a lot of stigma being a Doctor Who fan. Now, in 2005, that kind of did change a little bit. Even though RTD's era, if you look back at it now, some of the CGI hasn't aged well, but I think that's what gives it its charm now. But I mean, if you were a non-fan back in 2005 and you saw the Sylvain, like you'd be laughing your head off. Like still, even at that time, it was still a bit, well, you're a Doctor Who fan, but you whispered it. But by the second season, the third season, the fourth season, and then into Moffat's era, Doctor Who fans were shouting from the rooftops that they were Doctor Who fans. Now, we're gone back to a time now where I've had people listen. I post me videos on different groups, right? And I remember I post Doctor Who, and someone says to me, "Seriously, you're a Doctor Who fan?" I says, "Yeah, that show's a joke," and that hurt. That hurt. It got some respectability.
I
And Moffat after the late 80s and the way it was treated, it got back some respect. And to see it now being a laughing stock again, and I'm sorry, but talking frogs, aliens with teeth in their face, right? Pregnant men, right? A fucking adipose on crack, right? Evil sheets. What else had we got? A leather jacket racist guy.
A frog. A fucking talking frog.
Yeah, a bleeding talking frog. Right? That's the level that Chris Chibnall has brought this show to. They're not even decent bloody villains. They're laughable. Did he think? I mean, I don't know. Maybe his marketing team thought, well, here, listen, do a lot more kiddie stuff because, we'll be able to sell the shit out of this. Well, that's backfired. That's backfired. Listen, I'm just going to end with this and then I'll let Marty, because I know I did ask Marty a question about 10 minutes ago and I went on a bit of a tangent there, but I just will add by saying this. We're coming to a point now where I'm talking to a lot of fans of the show that are telling me that unless Chris Chibnall is gone and he goes now, i.e. after Series 13, they're never going to come back. I would say to the BBC, you've pandered enough now to the other side. It's done you no good. You've got the lowest rated show now, sci-fi show. It's become an absolute joke. It hurts to see it in the state that it's in. People think I take great pleasure on coming on stream after stream, criticising this current era of Doctor Who, and say that I'm not a fan and that I hate Doctor Who. Number one, you clearly don't know me, but number two, I will say this. The reason why I do what I do and I come on every day on the TARDIS Zone and I do the different little streams that we have and I bring people on and I still talk about Doctor Who and the state that it's in is because I care, right? I cannot stop caring for some weird reason. I thought I could move away, but this show, as I said, has literally saved my life.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it is, and it might sound stupid, but I believe I owe the show. I owe those people like RTD, that when it did come back, the time that it come back, and all those people that were involved in it, I owe them a debt of gratitude.
Yeah.
When I see the show in the state that it's in, I'm not going to stay silent no more. So spin the ratings all you want. Say that the merch is fine, licensees are fine, right? Say that everything that I put out there is nonsense. I don't care. What it boils down to is that you've lost over 57% of your audience. And that is not sustainable.
Yeah.
So continue down this path, and the show is done, in my opinion. Now I hand you over to Marty, who has been dying to get in, and I'm sorry about that, but I just want to say that this show means the world to me. And for anybody to suggest out there that I hate Doctor Who, no, I cannot stand this current era. This current era goes against everything that I believe that Doctor Who should be and the level that it should be at, i.e., doing well in the ratings, being a worldwide global hit like it was. This show is a shadow of itself, and I am not going to stop talking about it because if I don't start, I think it's important that myself and the people in my chat that come onto my channel have a voice, and we will continue to have that voice as long as that man is in charge, right? And I'm just going to leave it at that, because even thinking about it now, thinking about what he's done, is actually getting me a little bit emotional again. And I don't want to give these people another opportunity to have another dig at me because I wear my heart on my sleeve. I don't care, right? Yes, I'm an emotional guy. I've watched the show that I've watched the show that I've watched since I was a kid. I'm now in my 40s, right? Be destroyed in front of my eyes, and you guys out there telling me that I don't have a right to get emotional, a right to be upset. I have every right, and so does everybody in me chat and everybody that listens to me on these streams. They have a right to have their voices heard, because God knows BBC has listened to the wrong people for too long now. And it's time that you guys at the BBC cop onto yourselves now and start doing this show the justice that it can be done. Do you know what? Bring me in as a bleeding advisor, because I'm telling you, no, I'm not taking the piss here. I put my name forward as an advisor. I'm telling you now, I'll have this show back on its feet within a year, right? Because the right decisions will be made. It'll be promoted properly. It'll become a global hit again, right? And even if it's not that great, the reason why it'll be a global hit is because I'll know how to advertise it, I'll know how to frame it, I'll know what the audience wants. So give them what they want. Marty, go ahead, because I did go on another 5-minute rant there. I'm shutting up now. No, go ahead. The floor is yours, pal.
No, it's you sort of, it's like for me now. I'm just going to talk about the way I am. I look at it now, and I just think it's I just feel like it's dying a slow death, and I've blamed everybody for it. I mean, I originally thought it was Jodie Whittaker, and I don't blame her anymore for it. It's not her. It's Chibnall. It's the way. I know if I ever, God knows, like as I've said before several times on here, I want to be a producer. So, if I ever do end up working on Doctor Who and I run into Chris Chibnall in about 25 years' time and meet him, if he ever somehow finds this or any of the other streams I've been on, I'm sure he'll probably kill me for it. But it's. I just think that there's so much potential there that hasn't been fulfilled. I mean, I don't want to repeat myself all the time, but you get in there a decent writer and a decent actress, actor. Listen, the whole idea of a female doctor, I get people don't like a female doctor. 100%, I understand it, but I'm not against the idea. As I say, I've been watching Lady Julie there for ages now. I've sort of binge watched it. Vicky McClure, that plays Kate Flanagan, Lady Julie. That's, if I had a big female doctor, I would pick her. She's brilliant. But I'm doing a course in media, and eventually I hope to become a producer. It's probably a sad thing. Well, not a sad thing to say, but some people would say it's sad. I've never really, I haven't told my family this, or anybody, but I dream. I have this dream of hearing that theme tune and seeing my name at the bottom where it says executive producer.
We need people like you in there, right? But again, unfortunately, Marty, you've got talent, right? Now, you've seen out there certain people that are an influence in this fandom on Twitter and
Yeah,
on YouTube. You know who I'm talking about exactly, but I won't mention their name. They're the kind of idiots that they are employing, mate. They don't go for talented people like you, people that actually have your own mind and, want to do your own thing. Unfortunately, what we're seeing, and I'm not going to go on a big mad rant, I'm going to make this short actually. Unfortunately, what we have here is now is that it's happening in Hollywood as well. They're getting in people that they can basically mold, so these companies are hiring, they're not hiring the most talented people, they're hiring people that they know they can control, they can mold and stuff like that. And this is what we're seeing in modern entertainment. I mean, when I heard CW actually had the balls to fire a writer because of stuff that they wanted to do in Superman and Lois. I think a lot more companies that produce shows like this, they need to set that example too. They need to be doing the same. They need to be telling these people, no, listen, you're here to do a job. We're not going to have a time where, BBC need to change their mantra though. That's the problem. BBC would encourage all of this. I just say to BBC, go back to the old-fashioned mantra of making money, bringing in people that are talented, that can elevate these shows. I mean, you even mentioned it with Line of Duty. I mean, they could certainly do it with Line of Duty and Peaky Blinders. So why can't they do it with... Now, I know they're two different shows, by the way. What I'm highlighting here is that they can actually get a talent pool of good writers, directors, and executive producers. But with Doctor Who, right, one of their flagship shows, they can't do that.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Like, there's potential. That's to say, there's so much potential there. I've you've sort of already heard, like, based on streams, like, if I ever do end up getting into that job of being a producer or executive producer, I'll be turning to the likes of the BBC, whoever is in charge at that time, and saying, listen, this is how we want to do it. We want to just do eight. This is sort of the plan I have. 8 60-minute episodes, or whatever it's going to be, whatever the format of television will be in that time, and just straight up sci-fi telling, no themes in it, straight up stories, set in the future, set in the past, set in the present, no themes. Obviously, have your story arc running through it, and just tell a decent story. Promote the hell out of it in the 6 months or the 6 weeks.
That's what it needs, man. That's what this show has been lacking since Series 11. The promotion side of it, Marty. And I agree with your format. I think that will be the format for years to come, by the way. So I think you're pretty safe there. But I think, like what they did with Sherlock. I know Sherlock was an hour and a half, but I wouldn't mind seeing hour and a half episodes or hour episodes or 8, whatever it is, of Doctor Who. I think that would be better. I think longer episodes actually work. Sometimes some of the stories, when they're 45 minutes long, you feel like, well, if I had went another 15, 20 minutes, you might have been able to give greater context or improved on the story. So, yeah, I agree with your format there. I think that's a brilliant format, actually.
The ideal, at best, you would probably get 8 60-minute episodes, but the ideal thing I'd love to do if I was having it was, you would probably have 6 65-minute episodes and maybe 2 90-minute episodes. Have your finale as a 90-minute episode, have your beginning as a 90-minute episode. That's sort of how I would do it.
Yeah, hold on. Just want to say good night to Charlotte because she's obviously gone.
Good night, Charlotte.
Good night, Charlotte. Have a good one. I'll see you on Friday, hopefully. I'll see a lot of you on Friday by the sounds of the chat. And Marty, again, if you want to come on Friday, just in case anything else does pop up, if you want to come on and give your opinion. I know you've given your opinion now, and we've kind of talked about other stuff, but this is what we do on this channel. But let's go back to the Reddit rumors quite briefly before we finish up. I have to say, very interesting. A lot of things that I'm worried about. Obviously,
Yeah.
but does confirm Whitaker regenerating, which, you know, I unfortunately a lot of people, you know, I do remember saying this, so I'm gonna be out straightening it out myself, oust myself a little bit. But I did say, you know, if Whitaker, now I did actually say this last year, but I'll say it again for anybody that wasn't following me. So I did originally say when Whitaker left, uh, I would basically be over the moon. I'd be celebrating on a live stream and, you know, just being stupid, basically, you know, because let's be honest, it will be a relief to a lot of fans when she is gone. But for me, the biggest relief I will have is when Chris Chibnall is gone. For me, Whitaker has made mistakes, but I'm not going to hold that against Whitaker. And I do wish her the best in acting that she does. And remember, and in fairness, I did watch Who Do You Think You Are? And I remember writing at the time on Twitter that Chris Chibnall ought to be ashamed of herself. Because even though she was at the start of it, you thought, oh, here we go, she's gonna start slating our male ancestor. But you could see during this episode that she grew to love this guy. She was surprised about all the hardships that he had, the family, all of this, and she got very emotional, right? And I was looking at this, and I was like, "See, this is our personality, right? You could see our personality, and she wasn't annoying. Now, you know me, right? Anytime I see a Doctor Who related stuff with Whitaker, or she's promoting something, whether it's Children in Need or Red Nose Day or whatever, I can't stand her. There's just something about her personality there that I don't like. But then I was watching this documentary and I was like, okay, so this is the real Jodie Whittaker. The woman is completely different to the way she actually goes on in all of these other videos, and that struck me. She's quite an emotional person, and she does wear her heart on her sleeve, and she is very bubbly. What annoys me is that Chris Chibnall hasn't utilised her personality, her good points, because she does. And by the way, guys, she does do emotional very, very well. And that's another thing that actually I did like about the one. I said there was a couple of times she convinced me for just a second that she was the Doctor. When the Master revealed herself, her face of shock, her genuine face of shock, that convinced me. Then when she went back to find Gallifrey had really been, remember, we didn't see it at first, we just saw her face, and we knew by looking at her face that something was bad. Now, if she was a terrible actress, right, if we were looking at her face, we wouldn't have known what was going on in that scene. But you knew from her face that something bad had happened. And they were the only couple of times. And in this recent festive special, she did something in it that I was like, okay, why didn't she play the Doctor like this all the time? Why didn't Chris Chibnall utilize this side of her, and then maybe she wouldn't have got as much herself personally wouldn't have got as much criticism. So I think he's let her down big time. Let her down. And I think he has room for another woman. If they do go with another woman, I'll be surprised. But
I would just be, if they were going for another woman, as I say, I'm a big advocate for Vicky McClure from Line of Duty. She's the woman I would get straight away. She's brilliant. But I've said this before. I know I have said stuff about Jodie Whittaker that's sort of been a bit damning, but I take all that back because I've been watching. I've been listening to the podcast she did with David Tennant. I've been listening to just different things about her, and she just seems like straight up down to earth girl and nice. You know,
She is. And even in that interview, she came across as very vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And the one thing that struck me about that podcast with David Tennant was when she made the comments about, you know, about being told not to research. I thought that was kind of very startling, but I think that was her way of kind of not throwing Chris Chibnall under the bus, but basically saying to us as fans, well, listen, I was told not to, but I eventually did, and even in the same podcast, it was talked about how long she should stay and stuff. 3 years, man, is what Tennant, Matt Smith, and everybody else has been telling her. And I think that's always has been the plan. I think what happened was with the other side was it was wishful thinking that she stays on 5, 6, 7 years because, listen, anything they do is aimed at trying to get under our skins. So when they say things like F cannon, they don't really mean it. They're only saying it because they know it would annoy us.
Yeah.
It was like when Whittaker was announced, but when we announced the force, but then the papers picked up on it months later, and then they start talking about it. The first thing that came out was you could see it from them. First, they were upset, and then the anger set in, and then of course the pettiness. And the pettiness was basically this. He says, "Well, I hope they cast another woman just so that they're not my doctors," and that's all that matters to them. And that's why I will criticize them. Because you don't care about the show. You only care about what upsets us as fans, right? And that's no way to behave or to act. You're either genuine fans of the show or you're not. But when you say things like F cannon and you say all of this other nonsense, right? Of course you're going to be criticized for it. You don't understand what this show means to people. And again, when you criticize people for crying over a TV show or whatever it is, or breaking down or being upset or heartbroken, you don't get it. And you will never get it. And that's why I don't believe you are true fans. And I get criticized for saying that. Well, you shouldn't say that and all. But I will say it. That's why I don't believe you are true fans. You don't have that connection. You don't understand. And until you do, then you will see it from our point of view. But none of you are there yet. None of you are there yet because you don't stick around long enough to get attached to these things. It's agenda, agenda, agenda for you guys. And as long as we're upset, that's what keeps you busy, keeps you happy. It's nothing got to do with how well the show is doing. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I see Stephen Moore's there. He makes a good point about I don't know if you heard this, but there was you probably see it in the comments otherwise about what people, some guy apparently was shouting at them when they were trying to film. Maybe if you look, I don't know, I'll say it. He was basically shouting Doctor Who wankers when they were trying to film. He was roaring onto the set, Doctor Who wankers, and I just think that just gives ammunition. Whether that person was a fan or not, that just gives ammunition to people who like the era to say, well,
yeah,
this is what the people who don't like the era are like. At the end of the day, I have nothing against anybody who likes this era. If you like it, good luck to you. You're happy. Fair enough.
I say the same. I don't get it, but if you like it, fair play. That's your thing.
If you're happy, if you're happy, I'm happy. I don't hold any grudges against anybody who likes it. Simple as that. But if you're going to turn around and start attacking people for not liking it, listen. I'm following people now on Twitter who are big fans, and we've had chats back and forth. But they're sound people, and they understand. There was one person who I follow who put up a tier ranking of the series 12 episodes, and I literally just said it out straight. I do not consider the Timeless Children canon. And instead of somebody saying, "Oh, you're a sexist," this, that, and the other, they're like, "Well, listen, I understand why you think that." And and I wrote back, "Yeah," I says, if Chibnall can explain it in such a way, which he probably won't, but if he can explain it in such a way which justifies it, my door is open. But at the minute, no. This girl who is mad into this era, she says, "I completely get what you're saying." And if there was more people like that, I think on both sides of the fandom, if there's more people like that, the fandom would be a lot healthier, and the likes of if there was writers turning down the opportunity to show run, maybe they'll be able to look at the fandom if there was more people like that and say, well, this, they're not arguing. Yes, you're entitled to not like something, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't be attacking someone because they don't like something. You shouldn't be
Yeah,
attacking somebody, and that's sort of where I stand on it. I don't hold any grudges against anybody.
I agree. I agree. I mean, there's no point, you know. Some of these people. Look. I agree with Marty. Nobody should be. The other side do seem to attack people or taunt people that don't like this era, and then they scream and play victim. Then when someone actually defends themselves, which, as you have seen, has happened to me several times, they've come out and then played the victim and turned people against me. Because that's their mindset. At the end of the day, the bottom line is this: there have been eras throughout Doctor Who's history that have been loved and hated by fans.
Yeah,
That's never going to change. Unfortunately, the new type of fan, we call them stans, right? Because that's what they are. Eminem's song "Stan" is a perfect description of these so-called fans nowadays, right? They're basically extremists, right? They go overboard. They'll go to all lengths to defend stuff without fully understanding what they're defending. This is the thing. Most of them, if you try get into an argument with them or try get into a debate with them, they'll turn it into a slagging match, because as soon as you start bringing up facts or start bringing up stuff that counters their argument, right? They go all defensive and they throw their toys out of their pram. You cannot have a constructive conversation with these people. Also, there's people that I know that decided to unblock a few of these people to see how it would go for a couple of days. And within a couple of days, the same old nonsense. What I would suggest is, listen, these people are not worth listening to anymore. I've blocked a lot of them now. I'm done listening to nonsense from other people. If they have it in for me, so be it. They have it in for me. There's nothing I could do about that, right? But at the end of the day, I could choose to do one thing, and is not listen to that nonsense. Now, when they do come out with nonsense, unfortunately, there is a side effect to that, and they don't. They do realize, they pretend that they're stupid, right? And they'll even do videos where they say, I don't want you to go after this streamer and all of this, right? But
yeah.
they know exactly that that's going to happen. And that's the side effect, right, of that. So I've had to block a lot more people. But I'll continue to do that, because this is the way to answer these people, because we add fuel to the fire. And yes, right, people will be out there and say, well, you've poked a few bears with sticks. Well, I disagree with that. Every time I've poked anybody is when they've came after me. So, I mean, I've shown all that with all the videos that I've done, right? Or I'll write up I got attacked one time because I did a poll, right? Then I was accused of just doing this poll because I wanted to rile up the other side. No, I did the poll because I thought the poll was an important thing. See, a lot of people then start thinking I do things or I say things just to get a reaction. That's not what I'm about, right? And if you clearly still don't understand that there's nothing I can do about it, I'm entitled to put a poll up. I asked people about the timeless children nonsense and people didn't like it. I asked if William Hartnell or the timeless children, and then I was accused on people from our side of storing it up. I wasn't. All I did was a poll. It's not my fault that these fans have a problem with art that we do. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
But I don't do it deliberately. I've never done anything deliberately on this channel. That's not what I'm about. All the information that we put out there, I'll bring Marty on if he finds stuff, as he is on tonight, right? And we'll explain it all. We'll try verify where it came from. If it's from my sources, obviously I'm not going to tell you who my sources are, and I don't care if there's still people out there that don't believe I have sources. You can do as many videos as you bloody want, right? The bottom line is that you've built a house of cards, but the thing about it is, as I said, I do follow up streams and we talk about it in depth on other streams, and I bring people on and we talk about the rumours. We talk about all the speculation. So I don't care. Let them do what they want. But I would advise anybody now, and this would be my advice. If you want a peaceful life, right? If your mental health, as we spoke about I did that video last night because I thought it was important. Because do you know what triggered it? Actually, I tell you what triggered that video. Cheryl, obviously, Caroline Flack's anniversary was a few weeks back, and there was a documentary on Channel 4, and we recorded it, and I kept putting it off and putting it off because I thought, why would we deliberately watch something depressing, Cheryl, when you're not, in the best mood yourself, right? But we finally watched it yesterday, and I have to say it had an impact on me. The way the media treated her, the way throughout our childhood, you could tell, she didn't take rejection well. It was a heartbreak at start, and it was from our family and our true friends. It was none of this bullshit celebrities. Ollie Moore was on it, but he was devastated. I mean, he had me nearly, and I was holding it together watching it with Cheryl. I was holding my lip like this. I was gutted. What a waste of a life because of scumbags out there. That media in the UK, we've known it anyway, what they're like. But Jesus Christ Almighty, man, it did. It really did. And then it got me thinking about all the shit that goes on in the fandom, air fandom, and fandoms in general, but especially air fandom, and the stuff that I've been through and other people have been through. And as you know, I've openly spoke about this. So I've been suffering with depression for years, my mental health for years. So, I kind of during this pandemic, obviously, I've been fine. I've had me down days, but the difference is I can handle it a lot better than I did back in the day. But there are days where I get up after being hammered on Twitter or on YouTube or whatever, and it was getting me down. So I was kind of like, it clicked a few months back. I was like, I'm letting all this stuff get me down. It's not good for me mental health. It's already bad enough that I can't do all the things that I want to do. So I'm just going to stop this nonsense. I'm just going to stop listening to what other people are saying about me. I mean, literally everybody was dying to tell me that certain streamer did a video. I don't care if he done a video. I won't watch his video. I refuse to watch it anyway. I don't care. I got snippets of what he said in the video and what he produced. If he wants to take screen grabs or show all my videos on his channel, let him.
Yeah, this is what I say to people, that are like that, and relating it back to the fandom and whatnot. I am open to anybody, and I mean anybody at all. Even I'll even say this in terms of mental health issues, because I've suffered myself. This. I've spoken about this before. If anybody is bother, please reach out to somebody. Firstly, I'll say this for mental health. Reach out to me on Twitter, at Marty Kjarl on Twitter. You can find me.
That's it.
Sure.
That's it. And the same. Listen, that's why I did that video last night, right? I can't believe, right? To be honest with you, I'm actually disgusted by it. I don't mind if these haters dislike me videos, right? There's two videos that they've disliked that actually have turned me stomach. I did a little tribute video on Liz Sladen last year for our anniversary, and a lot of them disliked that video, and that turned me stomach. But this latest video that I threw up last night, trying to send a positive message out there to let everybody know that does suffer with mental health, that you are not alone. You don't have to keep all of these bad thoughts or feelings that you have bottled up inside. There are people out there willing to help. That's all the simple message that I wanted to put out. I even chose the song very carefully because it even tells you, don't give up. Your life is worth living. All right? And we got two gobshites. I thought, do you know what? One day maybe YouTube will show you who dislikes your videos, because there's certain videos out there that I've done that have turned my stomach with the dislikes when I'm trying to highlight an issue, right? And highlight something that people are going through, and it's a real life thing, and it's killing people. And we got two scumbags, and that's what I'm going to call you, two scumbags disliking that video when I'm trying to send a positive message. I don't care if you dislike every other video, but when I'm putting out a message like that, that is scummy. That is scummy. Now, if you haven't seen that video, right, there's links in the link description as well for you. If there's anybody that does need to talk to a professional, I've left links for the UK, Ireland, US, and obviously Canada. And I'm sorry if I didn't get anybody else's country in there, but I hope the video does send a bit of a positive message. That's all I tried to do last night. There's no agenda here. I suffer with mental health. I've been open about, as I said, if Doctor Who didn't come back in 2005, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, because I was really struggling back then with my mental health. I had all those dark thoughts and stuff. It was a horrible time. And if that show hadn't come back, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you today. So, you know, I know the struggle is real, and especially those that are still in lockdown. I know, especially if you do suffer with depression or you have mental health issues, that this isn't a good time for you. But I just wanted to let you guys know out there that there are people willing to listen to you. There are people willing to help, and don't feel like you're alone. And that's the message I was trying to convey last night. And as I said, two little scumbags decided that that was the wrong message, because they can't get over their hate for me, that they have to dislike every single video that I do. But when I do a video like this, that does turn my stomach. What a scummy move, to be quite honest with you. You ought to be ashamed of yourselves, whoever you are, to be quite honest. I'm trying to, and do me a favor, guys, will you share that video? I want to send that positive message. And there is a hashtag, you know, and it's not a gimmick. I do want people to be open, you know, if you do want to talk, you know, and if you want to tell your story, you know, and you want to make it public. I know sometimes that can be the hardest step, taking that first step, but use that hashtag let's talk mental health, because I do think it's one of the biggest issues facing our society right now. And there's a lot of, and listen, this has no boundaries. There used to be certain age groups that would, you know, but during this pandemic now, it's like every age group seems to be vulnerable from this. And not only that, we've seen suicides from older people, younger people, you know, men, young girls, you name it. It's happening every day. Even streamers out there, unfortunately, you know, have passed away due to the stresses of being on social media and being attacked. You know, people try to deplatform them, and then, you know, their career is in tatters, and then they feel there's no way out, and they end up. We've seen it last year. A couple of big major YouTubers passed away, took their own lives. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. It needs to stop. And I would say to those people out there that engage in all of this abusive behavior, you mightn't think you're abusive. And I will say to those people that do videos as well, you know, my message would be, you know, when you're doing something like that, maybe you should, you know, think before you do, and understand that that might have an impact on someone, especially if they suffer from depression or mental health issues. Your words, your the way you phrase things could really upset and do damage to someone's confidence. And you know, I would just say, listen, it needs to stop, all of this nastiness. And there's been even people on our side that have engaged. Now, I think it's time to stop. I mean, life is too short. I mean, we're in a situation that we never thought we'd be in. Let's be honest, and people are suffering. And it's not just because of a virus or there's not or whatever. I don't care where you are in it. But the mental health issue, that is a real thing. Domestic abuse, unfortunately, is on the rise as well. Unfortunately, it is. That is the reality of the situation that we're in right now. So we need to we need to address this. We need to talk about the toxicity in fandom and how it affects other people. And I think this is the biggest issue that we face. And it's not just affecting fandoms, it's affecting society as a whole. So please, if you are feeling a bit down, my suggestion would be to watch my video. And then hopefully it does some good for you. And if it does and you feel like it's a positive message, I would ask you to share that video. Listen, the video is not even monetized because I picked the copyrighted song deliberately, so it wouldn't be. So I'm not making money off this video because, you know, people will accuse me, well, maybe he's making money. I'm not making any money off this video, okay? Because the song that I picked is from New Radicals, right? It's got a copyright claim on it. It cannot be monetized. So it's not monetized, okay? Go and check out the links. As I said, if you're feeling a bit down, I put some links in there. There may be someone that you can talk to. If you don't want to talk to a friend, a family member, a stranger, a priest, whatever, your doctor, you know, there's information there. So go and check it out. Marty, is there anything else you would like to add before we finish up?
Nothing that I can think of, to tell you the truth. As I say, everything you say there is 100%. But going back to everything at the start, if anything comes up or if I hear anything,
yeah, let us know. Yeah, definitely. And I know you will. And I just want to thank you on air again, because I know you could go to anybody else with this stuff, but you choose to come to us, come to me, I should say, and share it with me. So I just want to say thanks, man, because I know you do go and you actually do a bit of research, and we've had you on a few times now. I've even seen you had to defend. See, this is what I'm talking about as well. You've even had to go in and defend when someone's come in to the comment section and said, well, this is bullshit. And then you would say, well, refer to the stream that we did, blah, blah, blah. Because this is what I'm saying. These people come in blind because they hear someone out there say something, and then they make a stupid comment without realizing that maybe there was 2 or 3 streams that followed talking about this stuff, which is but listen, I do want to thank you, because as I said, you could go to someone else, but you choose to come here. So I just want to say thanks, because it does keep us, I mean, the rumors that you do find, it does keep everything interesting, and it does get us all talking. And I think Friday night Start of Zone Talks is going to be a very
interesting,
a very interesting and heated one by some of the things. So Marty, do your plugs, mate. Do your plugs, or just, or sorry, you were going to make a point there. Make your point and do your plugs, mate.
I'll not say no names, but there was one person who wrote that this taking everything with a pinch of salt is making my blood pressure. It's not good for my blood pressure. Listen, at the end of the day, if your blood pressure's going up because you're worried about a TV show, and believe you me, you need to chillax. But anyway, listen, nothing really to plug apart from my Twitter. I think some of the guys will probably stick it up somewhere in the chat anyway. But there's nothing really else to plug apart from my Twitter. But as I say to my Twitter people, if you want to chat, DM me. My DMs are open, and I will chat.
That's it. Listen. As I said, there are people out there. If you're struggling right now, just remember there are people out there willing to listen to you. Firstly, and maybe can give advice. But I would suggest that always refer to the professionals. But you can listen to a friend, a stranger. They can offer advice, but it's up to you whether you take it or not. But listen, you're not alone, right? And there's no shame in saying that you struggle, because everybody does. the secret is that some people can handle it, the stresses of life a lot better. But there are some of us out there that, unfortunately, are not that strong, and that's just the way it is. There's no shame in that whatsoever. But the thing about it is, you must always understand that you're not alone, you're not a burden, and trust me, talking, simple thing like talking, can lift the weight off your shoulders. I'm not saying it will solve your problems overnight and you'll feel on top of the world. But what I am saying is that once you start to unload, you will feel that heavy burden lift off you bit by bit, and then eventually you'll come to a place where you're able to deal with situations better, and you're able to deal with these daily struggles. A lot of people out there, trust me, I would say a lot of us in life do struggle. As I said, there are just some people out there that can handle it a little bit better, but that doesn't mean that they're any better than us. You know what I mean? The thing is it's just, we're all different people. We all have flaws. That's just the bottom line. But that doesn't mean that you should stay silent. Talk. It's a big thing. You're not alone. It's yeah. I'm really serious about this. I mean that documentary did have. I'm not going to sit here and lie. That documentary had a huge impact on me, and to see what that poor woman went through. Even our ex-boyfriend, our boyfriend, didn't want the police to go ahead with charges, but they did. And then someone leaked photographs of the blood stains in the newspapers, and then they start calling her a domestic abuser. Listen, if you're in a relationship, right? Relationships aren't perfect the way they're portrayed on TV. Some relationships can be highly volatile, and people will say, well, how is that working? But it does work. In some cases, like Caroline Flack, it might be something that triggered it. Like apparently there was a text message from another woman that triggered the argument. She'd had a few drinks on her. And apparently if what I'm hearing is true, she tried to slit her wrists or something. Something happened and her boyfriend got injured. And the police were rang. And then, she made one mistake. She's right. She made one mistake and she was punished by the media for it. And her mother was asked, and they did kind of try to end with this. And her mother asked who was at fault for it. And she did say, well, it's kind of hard to say because if she hadn't have met so and so, then this wouldn't have happened. But then, yeah, if the police hadn't have went through the investigate, then this wouldn't happen. I can tell you who you can blame, right? The media and the police have. I mean, if her boyfriend didn't want to press charges, right, and he's the supposed victim of this domestic abuse, shouldn't they not take the word of the boyfriend? Apparently, as well, the courts refused her permission to see him, even though he was openly wanting to see her, because they obviously wanted, I mean, she couldn't even see her boyfriend. The courts prevented her from seeing her boyfriend. They still wanted to have a relationship. So when I seen this and I saw the impact, and then I saw the impact it had on her sister especially, you could tell by her sister's never going to get over it. There was even a part in it where they asked her a question and she couldn't, she didn't give a straight answer, but then you could clearly see in her face and her eyes, she was about to go. She was about to collapse. She will never get over losing her sister. Her mother is devastated. It's just, listen, I loved her on the X Factor. I know she was criticised with Ollie. I loved them on the X Factor. I thought they should never have moved from the Extra Factor anyway. I never watched Love Island, but what I heard was she was a great host. But then when I seen the vile shit that people were saying about her on Twitter that I seen in this documentary, and I seen what the newspapers, That's what drove her to suicide. Social media, the media, and the police. And they ought to be ashamed of themselves. So I sat here after Cheryl went to bed after the doctor. I sat here and I have to say, I just kept thinking about all the stuff that I went through and how it could have been a different story. And that's what inspired that video last night. Yeah, I just wanted to send a positive message to let everybody know they are not alone, even in difficult times, you know. And remember, Caroline kept a lot of things bottled up, as our family said in that documentary. And she never, something would happen and then she'd go meet her family and act all normal and she wouldn't say anything about it. Don't bottle it up, folks. Talk. Talk to someone. It will help. Trust me. It'll be the beginning, and then you'll be able to get to a point where you'll be able to get through the daily struggles. Trust me, 2005, I wouldn't have been able to get through today. If you had the 2005 version of me sitting here talking to you now, you'd be listening to a completely different person. You'd be listening to a person that would be self-doubting, that would be putting myself down openly. People would joke about me, killing myself, and I'd agree, yeah, maybe that's the best thing for me to do because I thought it was a burden. But no, I remember that first time that I had the courage to go and talk to someone, and then I decided there and then that I wasn't going to stay silent anymore, keep all the stuff that I had bottled up inside because it wasn't doing me any good, because I wanted to live.
Yeah.
And I made the choice. So listen, I'm going to leave by saying look after yourselves. Take care, and remember, you aren't alone. And don't forget to watch the video. If you ever do feel down, go and watch the video, I would suggest. I'm pretty sure there are other stuff out there that you do watch. Whatever it is, that would be my suggestion. If you're feeling a bit down, go and watch that thing that puts a smile on your face or gives you that message of hope. But I want you to all look after yourselves. I do believe that this is a thing that, and I'm going to keep highlighting this, by the way. I'm going to bring it up on every stream that I do. Obviously, I won't go for as long as I went tonight about it, but I will be highlighting it. I think it needs to be kept in the open. I don't think anybody that suffers from mental health or depression or whatever should be feel, because there is a stigma attached to it still. Even though we've gotten better, there still is that stigma. But don't worry about it. There are literally thousands beyond thousands of people that are the same, that have the same struggles as you have. So you're not alone. So yeah, as I said, look after yourselves. And I'll say good night. Marty, thank you for coming on.
No problem. No problem at all.
Thanks. And I know, of course, if you do come up with something, you will let us know. To everybody in the chat, all me moderators, I just want to thank you all. And thank you for listening to me, especially talking about this. I know it's not Doctor Who, but thank you for your understanding. I think you all know where I'm coming from anyway. But I just want to thank you all because, when you get someone talking about it, it is still a bit of a taboo, but it needs to be spoken about. It needs to be highlighted because it is affecting a lot of our fellow Doctor Who fans out there and our family members as well. Remember that. So let's make sure that those people that feel like they're alone and they can't talk, let's send a message that they're not alone and they can open up and talk. So I'm going to say good night. I'm not going to plug Anton. I'm just going to say good night. I will talk to you. I will talk to you soon. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say. So I'm not even going to play the the trailer. I'm just going to end it right here, right now. So thank you. I've had a good night, by the way, and I'm glad I spoke about this. I think it needed to be highlighted. So I'll say good night. Good night, Marty, and good night, everybody in the chat. Have a good one. Stay safe. Look after yourselves, and I will see you all. Now we're going to end the broadcast.